What's going on, everybody? What's going on, everybody? This is BoxingWave. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification button so whenever I make new videos, you'll be notified. A lot of people tell me that they don't get notified whenever I upload a new video. I know YouTube is a little bit funny when it comes to that, but make sure you subscribe to the channel. Also, hit that like button and support the videos. You support the videos when you hit the like button. The more likes, the more viewership. Appreciate to everyone that's been supporting. I believe that this is the first time I ever went live and did a breakdown of a fight going live. I know I talk about fights leading up to the fight, going going live and do post-fight reviews and stuff like that. But I don't believe I ever went and did a breakdown for a fight live. I usually record it, upload it. But for this fight here, and I have it actually playing in the background. TFJ, thank you. Appreciate for the super chat. The reason why I am doing it live is because I'm really having a hard time with deciding who I'm going to pick. I know I want Whyte to win. Not that I dislike Povetkin, because I do really like him. And for him to be turning 42 soon and fighting at this level still, it just goes to show how good of a boxer he is. I mean, he's only lost to Joshua and Klitschko. So he's still a very impressive fighter. And his fundamentals, his technique is at the very best. I mean, he's always pretty much been a top 5 heavyweight. Even at this age, he's still knocking out guys like Dillian Whyte, who many believe is a top 5 heavyweight, and he's been that for quite some time now. But yeah, what's up, everyone that's coming in? Make sure you hit the like button. Appreciate everyone that's coming in. So look, we're gonna do this breakdown. I'm gonna talk about all of the things that I think these fighters need to do to win the fight. And I'll make a decision by the end of this video on where I'm going to go. Dillian Whyte got knocked out in the first fight in the 5th round. This was after coming off the 4th round where he dropped Povetkin twice. Pretty much the same way. He has that short left hook, which is probably his best punch. We know Dillian Whyte had surgery on that shoulder maybe a few years back, but that's his punch. That's like his signature punch, that left hook. And he got dropped and knocked out in the 5th round off an uppercut. Povetkin countered him with an uppercut while Dillian was throwing that same left hook and got knocked out 1 punch. He was out. One of the biggest knockouts of the year. And Kano, what's up, brother? So I've been figuring out a way how I'm going to, break this down. Because the thing is, Povetkin is still getting older. And he's coming off of having COVID. We know that he was hospitalized. He had COVID. And not only did they reschedule the fight, but they rescheduled the fight again. I believe the fight was going to be in January. And they pushed it up again. So now the original fight was in August. We've had plenty of time to prepare for both fighters, right? Both fighters, I believe, had plenty of time to get everything together. Povetkin, get himself in shape, train, recover from having COVID. And I believe that this is probably going to be the best version of Povetkin that we can get at this stage in his career. He's looking for one last shot. And if he is to get knocked out in this fight, I really think his chances of ever becoming or fighting in a world title fight is going to be done. Dillian Whyte is just looking to bounce back. Yes, he still is a lot younger, still got time in the game, the box and stuff like that. But if he is to lose to Povetkin, it will definitely be a huge setback for a guy that has been so close to reaching a WBC title shot. All right. We know that Wilder had the title for some years, and Dillian Whyte was pretty much the #1 ranked guy for a long time, and he never got his title shot. All right. So that's kind of the reason why I would like Dillian to win. I like Dillian. I've always wanted to just see him in there with a Wilder. You know, I don't think we're gonna get that, or Fury, or somebody. I mean, even in an AJ rematch is cool. I just want him to get one more title opportunity. But listen, if he loses, you know, he's just gonna have to work his way back up a little bit. You know, it is what it is, because Povetkin is, and that's the knockout right there. They just showed it on TV. Povetkin is better than Dillian Whyte. Povetkin is better than Dillian Whyte. And what I mean by that is, you put the two of them in their prime, Povetkin is better. He's better. He's more of a complete fighter. He's a better athlete. He's a better counterpuncher. He's sharper. When he was at his prime, he was definitely quicker. Just a higher IQ, more experience. He's better than Dillian Whyte. I was doing my homework the last couple of days, not even all yesterday. I did my live yesterday with you guys. I was chopping it up, and I was sitting around late last night, you know, late last afternoon, just watching a little bit of their old fights. I was watching a little bit of the Povetkin Joshua fight. I was watching a little bit of the Povetkin Michael Hunter fight. I even went back, watched a little bit of the Klitschko fight with Povetkin. And then on Whyte, I was watching a little bit of the Oscar Rivas fight. I was watching some of the, what else I was watching? Obviously, I was watching the Povetkin fight. I was watching a little bit of Dillian, you know, because I didn't really go back. I didn't go to the Marius Walk fight. It's no reason to watch that fight again. I would never watch that fight. That was the worst Dillian Whyte we ever seen. But that's him coming off that inactivity and that, you know, that whole PED scandal that he had going on. So he was definitely at his worst physical and mental state. So there's no reason to really watch that. But I was watching the Oscar Rivas fight because I think it's comparable. Shout out to Speak Your Mind Sports. We're going to do some work. We was actually just chopping it up. We're going to do some work, and I'm going to start, you know, getting people on here. Shout out to Kano Loco. He was here too earlier. Shout out to everyone that, you know, whose podcasts or whose channels I've been on, and, you know, all the other good boxing channels that support. But I'm going to set it up where we're going to start having guests and stuff like that to get that going. But back on the topic, I was watching these other fights, and I'm really mainly watching it for Dillian. I know what Povetkin is bringing to me. Like I already said, Povetkin's better. He's better. It's just that Povetkin will be 42 in a couple months. So, and he's coming off of having COVID recently. All right. He recovered from that. He's had some time. But a guy that's 41 years old, if Dillian Whyte decides to keep Povetkin on the end of this jab and stretch the fight out, how is Povetkin going to be looking in the later half of the fight? You know, if Dillian Whyte decides, you know what, I'm not going to exchange on the inside. I'm not going to stay in the pocket with Povetkin. I'm going to stretch this fight out. I'm going to take the Oscar Rivas fight where the role where he was keeping Rivas on the end of his jab, just popping him with the jab all night long, landing the right hands. All right. Yeah, there were points that these guys were exchanging and, you know, stuff like that. We know that Whyte got, you know, clipped with a shot. And you know what Rivas was? Rivas is a bully. He's a guy that wants to trade. He wants to exchange. You know, he's a shorter guy, but he's a muscular guy. He likes to throw the combinations. He likes to hook. And that's where he wanted to be. All right. So Dillian Whyte in that fight kept Rivas on the end of his jab. Taller, longer fighter. We already know that's what Dillian Whyte is known. He has the long arms. You know, he's able to snipe up top to the body from far out, you know, but he likes to exchange. He likes to trade. He likes to go to war. Derek Chisora, we saw what happened in that fight. He went to war with Chisora. He went to war with Joshua in their fight, you know. So sometimes he gets caught up in the mix. In the Povetkin fight, you know, not a lot of action between the two. You know, I think Whyte was being cautious. But what happened is you drop a guy twice in one round. Jermaine Bean, thank you for the super chat, man. Appreciate it. You drop a guy twice in one round, get a little comfortable. You can't get comfortable with guys like Povetkin. He only needs one punch. How many guys has he knocked out over the years with one punch? You know? So you got to always be cautious with a fighter like that. Yeah, speak. That's why I was speaking. Well, that's what I was saying earlier. Povetkin had COVID and they delayed the fight twice. So you got to take that into account. So it doesn't matter what I think of Povetkin. Yes, do I think he's a superior boxer overall? Absolutely. But I also know that he's 41 years old. When is Father Time going to show up? Is it going to show up in this rematch? How are the effects of having COVID going to play in this fight? We've seen a couple fighters coming off COVID take some losses or not look as impressive. Better be if just fought last week, coming off of COVID, coming off an injury as well. Didn't look that impressive to a lot of people. Okay. Also, we had Miguel Burchell. All right. Didn't look impressive in that fight. Got knocked clean out. Knockout of the year so far. All right. Against Oscar Valdez. All right. He was coming off of COVID. A lot of people thought Miguel Burchell was a heavy favorite in that fight. You know, and he was a champ for a long time at 130. Oscar moved up to fight him, and he gets knocked out coming off of COVID. So how is COVID going to play a role in this fight here? All right. Now, let's talk about what the fighters can do, or let's say more so with Dillian Whyte. Watching the older fights with Whyte or Povetkin with guys like Michael Hunter. The thing is with Michael Hunter is very, very fast. This is a cruiserweight that moved up. He's fighting as a heavyweight, and even though he's heavier, he still has a hand speed advantage over most heavyweights. He still is a lot more athletic. He moves, he has lighter feet, and he moves well. He uses his legs well for defense. He knows how to get in and out, hop in and out. All right. He was able to bring a complete onslaught to Povetkin. All right. He tried to knock him out in the first round. Dillian Whyte can't move that way. Not even Anthony Joshua could. Anthony Joshua had to take a completely different approach when he fought Povetkin. Michael Hunter tried to get him out of there early. Even the following rounds when he, you know, caught his breath and, you know, he tried to get Povetkin out of there. He was going for the knockout, you know, and Michael Hunter was doing things that Dillian can't do. He's just not that kind of, he's not a really athletic guy. He's a puncher. You know, he has long arms. He has a good jab. He's a worker. He's a slugger, you know. But at the same, but the thing is, he can do what Michael do, but not in the same way. He can't take that approach, you know, because he's just too slow. Povetkin still at 41 is probably a little bit quicker. You know, AJ, see you, Little News. I saw your comment. The thing about AJ was fighting a better version of Povetkin. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I was actually watching the first fight between Povetkin and Whyte. And then I went to watch AJ against Povetkin right after, which was in 2018. Bro, Povetkin was a lot quicker in that fight. I mean, noticeably. And a lot of people felt like Povetkin was old in the AJ fight. if you guys have time, do me this favor. Watch the Dillian Whyte fight against Povetkin. Watch the AJ fight against Povetkin. Then go watch the Klitschko fight against Povetkin. There's a huge difference in each fight. Just look at Povetkin and look at the way he's moving. It goes to show how good AJ is. Now, the thing with AJ and the difference between him and Dillian Whyte, there's a few. AJ's punch resistance was a lot better. AJ got hit with the shots that Whyte got hit with or got knocked out by, but he took them. Broke his nose as early as the first round. First 2-3 rounds, maybe, Povetkin was winning. He just, excuse the noise. These ambulances, man, in New York, they just drive by all day with the, you guys know, you guys ain't new. What was gonna say? Yeah, AJ's punch resistance is a lot better. AJ, people say that AJ is chinny, yada, 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 but AJ took those shots. He was taking them. He took them well. But once he established, whatever it is, whatever the strategy was in that fight, he started to take control. He worked behind his jab. He kept that jab low, kept pumping it, throwing those right hands. When they get into those exchanges, the thing with Dillian Whyte that he doesn't have, that an AJ have or a Michael Hunter had, when they're in the pocket, guys like AJ, Michael Hunter is a little bit more swift. They have the reflexes. They're able to get out of the way. They keep that guard up. Dillian Whyte, he doesn't have those reflexes. He doesn't get back into the defense. When he throws a punch, there's a longer delay for him getting back to defense. And that's what I was noticing when I was comparing the AJ fight and the Michael Hunter fight. It's a delay. He kind of keeps himself open, and that's part of the reason why he got clipped. I mean, Povetkin got those angles. So when Dillian was throwing the hook, Povetkin shifted to his left and came up with the uppercut like that. Dillian's chin was all there, leaned over while he's throwing his hook. And that's how he got caught. So RC, you a funny dude. So yeah, that's basically what happened. Another thing with AJ was losing early, but he stuck to the game plan. He worked on that jab, kept pumping that jab to the body over and over again. And that's what Dillian Whyte needs to do to win this fight. He needs to use that jab. He got a jab. You the body snatcher, right? If you're the body snatcher, snatch the body. This is the older guy coming off of COVID. Snatch the body from the outside. Sometimes you get into the exchange, throw the hook down, but keep that guard, keep that free hand up. He doesn't move like the rest of these guys, so it's always going to be a danger, because the fact of the matter is Dillian Whyte will always be in harm's way if he's fighting a guy in Povetkin. We can't just dismiss that, because Dillian Whyte is who he is. He's not going to come in here and be slick. He's not a slick fighter. So he's always going to be in danger against Povetkin. There's no way to not be in danger. So you either can take the shots like Joshua did, or be quick enough to move out of the way from the full impact of a shot like Michael Hunter did. Michael Hunter got hit, but for the most part, he was able to use his legs as defense. He could move up top a little bit. He could block some shots. He could see the shots coming a little better. Dillian Whyte doesn't have those reflexes. He's just not swift like that. He doesn't move that way. And he's not going to learn to move that way in one camp. And even if he did, it's still Povetkin. He's a much, much more well-schooled boxer than Dillian Whyte. Dillian White's biggest advantage is the fact that he's youth. His youth. He's youthful. You know, his youth, his age. Um, he's healthy. He's not coming off of COVID or anything. And I'm sure there's things that him and his camp has worked on in between the fights in order to prepare for this one. I don't know what the strategy is. I personally think that Whyte is going to stay out of the pocket. I think he's going to go the Oscar Rivas route. I think that's what he's going to do. I think he's going to try to keep Povetkin on the end of the jab. And I think the best punch in this fight here is his right hand, is the straight right hand, is the overhand right, because that's the punch that set up that left hook in the first knockdown with Povetkin. He threw two of them, landed two, and then caught him with the hook as Povetkin was stepping in. Because that's what Povetkin does. He's able to close a gap between him and these taller, longer fighters real quick. Thing is, with Dillian's jab, Povetkin is going to counter that jab. All right, with his overhand rights, he's going to slip and counter. Then he's going to step in, catch you to the body, catch you with the uppercut, catch you with the hook. It could be anything. He could throw anything with that left hand. But he's going to be looking to counter Dillian Whyte's jab so he can close the gap. The problem is with Dillian Whyte is Dillian Whyte doesn't use his feet like as defense as a lot of the other fighters that I just named. Klitschko, all he had to do was hold him. That's one of the worst fights I've ever seen. One of my least favorite fights is the Klitschko fight against Povetkin because Klitschko knew exactly what it was. Klitschko said, I'm going to keep him on the outside. Povetkin's going to step in, all right, and I'm just going to hold him. And he did it for a whole 12 rounds. And the referee, and he leaned on him, and he held on for dear life. He did not let Povetkin get off at all. And the referee didn't take any points. He didn't, give him any hard warnings or anything. At least I don't remember if he did. Maybe he did. I haven't seen the fight in years. I know I saw a little bit of it the other day. But I remember that fight, watching that fight, because it was a big fight at that time. If you guys were watching back then, Klitschko against Povetkin was a huge fight. A lot of people felt like Povetkin was going to be the one to take Klitschko out. Before Tyson Fury, people thought about David Haye. People thought about Povetkin. People thought about, Tyson Fury, which he did win. But Klitschko at that time was still the king. And Povetkin was that guy that was on the come up that was looking to take his head off. It's just that Povetkin, he didn't fight out of those clinches. He just kind of let it happen. Dillian Whyte, he has to implement a little bit of that, in his game. He did a little bit of it against Oscar Rivas. There were times where Rivas was in the pocket and Dillian Whyte held on to him because Rivas is strong. He has that power and he doesn't have long arms. He wanted to be in the pocket. That's all he wanted to do. So he has to take that same approach against Povetkin. Throw his rhythm off. Go to his body. Go to his body. But be careful. Go to the body from the outside. Jab to the body. Let's get a little bit more feints. Because Povetkin, all he needs to do is counter, step in, and throw those combinations. And the thing is, you don't know. It's like a sequence of combinations that Povetkin do. This is what makes Povetkin so dangerous. Povetkin has a sequence of combinations that are not predictable. He steps in. Once he's up on you, you don't know if he's going to go to the body with the right. You don't know if he's going to shoot the uppercut. You don't know if the overhand right is coming. You don't know what he's going to do. So most fighters just guard up or hold on. But if he catches you in the in an exchange, you can clip him, but you can get clipped too. And if you don't have the punch resistance, you could be in trouble. You know, and the problem is with Whyte, and the worst thing about it is his best punch, which is that short, quick left hook. He'll be in the most amount of danger when he's throwing that punch. And we saw that in the first fight. I'm gonna go over some of the comments. Yo, if you're just joining us, make sure you hit the like button. Shout out to everyone that's here. Shout out to everyone that donated. Shout out to everyone that's just showing love. Yvonne, salute. Jamar, Dillian KO win in size 6. By the way, I don't think this is going to the cards. This is definitely going to be a knockout. I think Dillian Whyte is very capable of knocking out Povetkin. And I also think that Povetkin obviously is very capable of knocking out Dillian Whyte again. All right. Will Messa. This is a proper boxing channel, very objective. Kudos from Manchester. Thank you. Appreciate it. What effect will Harold Shadow Knight have an effect on Dillian in this fight? I don't know. We got to see. We got to see what the game plan is going to be. I don't know. You know, these are things that I think needs to be done. Even if they have a game plan, it doesn't really matter because, like I said, Povetkin is the superior boxer between the two. He's just the older fighter, and he might not be the most healthy coming off of COVID going into this fight. So we don't know. We just got to wait and see how it's going to go down. Povetkin had issues with coronavirus twice. Yeah, the fight was delayed. Yup. Always drama in Dillian Whyte fights. Never wins comfortably. Yeah, but you know what? He's a top fighter, but he's not the most fundamentally sound fighter. And I think that's why his fights are so competitive all the time, because he's I don't know, his style, it just, I don't know, he has like his own way that he fights, and he matches up well with just about anybody. You know, he's not completely superior in one way, in one particular thing. You know, Povetkin didn't have the greatest gas tank before attacked by coronavirus. Yeah, and this is why I think Dillian Whyte needs to draw the fight out. Draw the fight out. You got to fight cautiously, yo. If you knock Povetkin out, and if you knock him out 10 times in one round, still fight as if he can knock you out in any given time. That's the way you got to go. Luke Campbell was coming off COVID as well. Yep, he was. This is what I'm saying. A lot of these fighters that had COVID wasn't their best performance coming back. All right. This is a real 50-50 fight for me. I don't know if Whyte has overtrained or how COVID affected Povetkin. We don't know. I don't know. You know, I can tell you I want Whyte to win, but I don't know who's going to win. I don't know. I don't know. COVID disabling everyone. Yeah. Dillian Whyte was doing well in the first fight. Then Povetkin knocked him out with one punch. If Dillian uses his jab and fights at range, he can definitely beat him. Yeah, he could. He could. But every fighter tries to do that against Povetkin, and he still manages to get inside. What are you going to do when he gets inside? That's the question. When he gets in, what are you going to do? You know, are you going to move back? Are you going to exchange with him? Are you going to be on your guard? Are you going to clinch? What are you going to do? Are you going to time him stepping in so you can counter and trap him? That's another thing that Dillian can work on. Hopefully he worked on that too. When he's stepping in, he has to work on counter and timing him, beating him to the punch. But can he do that? I don't know if Dillian Whyte has that kind of IQ to time him that way. I just don't know if he can do it. I hope so. Have also followed Povetkin all his career. This is a very old Povetkin now, and he's still very dangerous. Dillian needs a good, long, strong, it's possible. Yeah, absolutely. I think Povetkin has been more dangerous as he's older and heavier. Yeah, I agree with all that. Ain't a boxing way live without sirens. Yeah, Joshua's balance is way more superior than Dillian White's balance. Well, yeah. Listen, Dillian White, and this is no disrespect because I really like him. I like him. I'm a big fan of him, and a lot of you know that. But White is like, again, he's not the greatest athlete. He's kind of clunky. He doesn't have the best balance. He throws his punches and fall out of balance a lot. We see that a lot. But he still beat a hell of a lot of good top heavyweights, former champions and such. It's still very good. Smash that like button, definitely. And I see you speak your mind. Says Joshua throws a stiff jab and a stiff right. He has the habit of doing the exact same thing. Basa, they pull back the stiff jab and have to reset. And you know what? And I think that's going to be the key. I don't think Whyte is going to win this fight off hooking. I think it's the straight right that's going to take Povetkin out. And I think he needs to keep it a rangy fight. I think his chances are better then. Stay outside of the danger. And he's done it before. And I've seen him do it against Rivas. Rivas was able to close the gap. I don't think he's able to close the gap the way Povetkin. Rivas closed the gap in a different way. He was just lunging forward and then throwing combinations. Whereas Povetkin, he's more about his timing. He wants the perfect setup. He wants to throw the counter, step in, and then throw the combinations. That's what he wants to do. Rivas is not that technical. He's not. I'm just getting in and I'm going to throw my combination. That is a different type of fighter. Yeah, Povetkin put on some weight since the Joshua fight. Yeah, absolutely. Quentin, thank you. Everything is good. Everything is great, actually. Everything is great. Thanks for asking. Yeah. Michael Hunter was hurt in the second part. He was, because he slowed down. And I think Michael Hunter, one of his weaknesses is he comes out blazing fast, and then when he gasses, he looks terrible. He's like completely exhausted, and I think he put so much. I think the thing with Michael Hunter, I think he is a top heavyweight, but I think with Hunter, I think he just needs to work on his pacing a little better. I think he just goes for it every single time. And sometimes he needs to work on, like working for the knockout instead of just trying to get it done quickly, All right, let me move up. Green, thank you for the donation. You say Whyte to me isn't chinny. I don't think Whyte is. I'm not going to go as far as saying Whyte is chinny, but what I did say is that I don't think his punch resistance is as good as AJ's was, because AJ's took some of these bigger shots from Povetkin, and they were clean, and he took them. He took these shots. Do Golden, what's up, man? Everything is good. Almost every single time Whyte been dropped and knocked out has been by uppercut. And I'm sure Team Povetkin knows that. And that's the shot that they're going to go for again. But Whyte is probably going to fight a distant fight. But yeah, I think Whyte is gonna figure it out, man, and I think Whyte is gonna pull it off. I think he's actually the favorite, which I am surprised at. I am surprised that he's the favorite, because Povetkin, yes, is the better fighter to me between the two, but I just think that I can't trust. It's not even really his age. I can't trust a fighter coming off of COVID. And like I said earlier in this video, if Whyte decides to draw this fight out and keep it a rangy fight and just work on, the jab and the right hand, if he can work on that and attack the body, shoot those jabs to the body and keep moving a little bit more, a little bit, he's not a mover, but if he can use his legs a little better, I think he'll be able to close the show later in the fight, but there's not much room for mistakes there. Too many mistakes is going to get him. He's going to get out of there. Povetkin's going to get him out of there if he's in there trying to exchange with him. If he's going to be in a pocket with Povetkin, Povetkin is better at that. That's what that's his thing. That's what he's an expert at. Young Hollywood, everything is good, man. Thank you for asking. Thank you. Everything is great. And then we can move from there. But whatever way it ends, if Dillian is to lose this fight, all it means is that Povetkin has his number. Dillian can still beat and has beaten a lot of top heavyweights. And I believe he would bounce back. It's just that Povetkin is he's a special fighter. It's not too many guys at heavyweight that's fighting, on his level. And if Povetkin loses, and I think whoever loses this fight is going to be by knockout. I don't see this fight going to a decision. But I see, if Povetkin loses, and if it's by knockout, maybe it is time for him to hang it up. I think his chances of fighting for a title ever again it'll be gone after another loss. I think Whyte still has a little bit more room. I think he'll still have opportunities there. But the thing is, too, with the heavyweight division, is like there's a lot of guys on the come up right now. And, Whyte losing, there's a lot of young, hungry heavyweights coming up. And, for him to get a title shot, whoever wins between Joshua and Fury and, what's going to happen with Usyk and, all these mandatories, all these other top guys, he might have to either go through some of these younger, hungry guys in order to get another opportunity. So it's going to be tough either way, It's going to be a great fight, and I agree it means little to either guy that loses. It just tells us pretty much obvious about them both. Whyte definitely better use his jab. Yep, he has one. He has to use it. I don't think he used it enough in the first fight, and I've been watching it over and over now, and I'm like looking for little holes, little things that he can do. And that's pretty much, me covering a fight. I think that is my breakdown. I think Whyte is gonna figure it out and pull it off, man. And I think, if Povetkin was a little younger and he wasn't coming off of having COVID, he would definitely win in a rematch after knocking out Whyte like that. But I just don't know, man. I'm gonna go with Dillian Whyte winning by stoppage this time. I think he's gonna get it right. As long as he stay out of danger, as long as he keeps pumping that jab. But it should be a good fight, It should be a good fight. I'm not going to be here Saturday, unfortunately, to cover the fight. And I think that's one of the things I wanted to tell you guys. I'm not going to be here. I know I wasn't here last week for the Ortiz and Maurice Hooker, and I'm not going to be here again this Saturday to cover the fight, unfortunately. But the next upcoming weeks, I will be around to cover all of the fights for the upcoming weeks that's, coming up. But this fight here, I will not be doing live commentary. I won't be home. So, it's unfortunate, but, not every Saturday. Can't do them all. But the upcoming weeks, I got you guys. All right, whatever fights that's going down. All right. All right, so that's my prediction. I got Whyte by knockout in a 50-50 fight. Anybody's fight. If you're a gambler, I will just leave this alone because it's hard to really call where it's going to go. All right. But it should be a good fight. I think Whyte is going to draw it out a little bit. He's going to use his jab, going to attack the body, going to slow the older man down, and he's going to make the adjustments he needs. But can't sleep with Povetkin. Povetkin knows how to close the gap. He might get the knockout again. Who knows? Who knows? We'll see. But I'll see you guys. All right. I'll be back. I'll probably drop something later. If not later, I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right. Peace.